Hello, everyone. Welcome to Transcendent Self 1, which is called the Spiritual Sky. We do the Transcendent Self 2 and 3 on Thursdays. We alternate between 2 and 3. One is the Celestial Melodies, and the other is the Anahata Nad, the unstruck sound, or the inner sound. So, and of course, just before each one, on Mondays we do tea, and on Thursdays we do coffee. And on Mondays we're just into more. We just started the ritual of matcha. I thought this year would be more educational on the tea side, and so we just underwent. You can see the matcha bowls here and the whisks. We're learning how to do a very small Japanese tea ceremony. So. Kimono-less. That doesn't mean to say we're naked. It means that we just don't have kimonos and sliding doors and tatami mats and all of that. It's a lengthier tea ceremony. This is less ritualized, but very practical and has the elements of tea involved. So if you want to join us next week, I would say for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be focused on matcha. In fact, I never even got to the chocolate today, so we got so into the matcha experience. We also got into the Chopin experience as well. We're not going Chopin today, but we'll have a different instrument. I want it to be a little bit more upbeat today, so I want to move more into this expression of joy, which is our very nature. The conference this year, the MSI conference, is going to be joy, fun, and laughter. And so I thought, let's just explore joy and oneness, actually. I'm not going to go so much into the fun and laughter. You can come to the spontaneous self for that. Not that we can't have fun at any moment, of course, but just in terms of the focus, the joy that I'm talking about is the inner joy of who we truly are. We are joy. You wouldn't believe that just to see the state of the world right now, but that's who we are. Some people are able to access that and demonstrate it and embody it. And the rest of us touch into it from time to time. But when we see it, we know it, and it does fill our hearts. And that joy emerges. It's not a posture. It's not an act. It's an actual nature of who we are. So today we'll be looking at how can we kind of really access that joy. And so let's begin by just asking for the highest and purest light from the highest and purest source to surround and fill each one of us and the space we're in for the highest good. And we ask for this light to clear the environment around us of any upset or negativity, sending it back into the nothingness from which it came for our highest good. And we ask for this light to cleanse and purify our inner space of any upset. This is the space inside our bodies, in our consciousness. Clearing it of any upset, dis-ease, imbalance, negativity, taking it back into the nothingness from which it came for our highest good. So already I think you can feel a peacefulness coming present. And it's very easy when we get peaceful to be serious. And again, if our nature is joy, if that's who we are, then let's access that for the next hour. But also let's honor the inspiration for all of this, John Roger. And so let's hear two excerpts, just 1 minute each, but carrying so much profundity from John Roger.
The divine presence is exactly that thing that is present everywhere. And I could take you to a radical point of view and tell you that there really is no soul. There really is only this presence that is omnipotent, omnipresent at all times. But we talk about the soul as that individualized energy to give you a sense of well-being so that you can wave your dilemma away as you rise up in consciousness to find out you are what you have always been, and you are the one you've been looking for. If you're not pleasing yourself by being who you are, I got some sad news for you. That's tough, because that's all there is. If you haven't found that place yet inside of you that is full and brilliant, that's tough, because that's all there is. But when you get there, that's enough, because that's all there is. That's all there is for everybody on all the levels of consciousness. The bright, brilliant radiance of our beingness.
The bright, brilliant radiance of our beingness. Kind of could be like an affirmation, can't it? When we're feeling a little down, the bright, brilliant radiance of our beingness. That's who we are. Bright, brilliant. Now you can close your eyes for the rest of this session. I will be playing some music on the half an hour, something for you to enjoy and relax to. But you don't need to open your eyes for it, although you can. They're very nice videos. But I would much rather you stay with this inner process of joy. And if you can open your eyes and maintain the joy with your eyes open, well, that's the best, really, because that's what you're going to have to do in life anyway, right? When we finish the meditation, you're going to go about your day, and you're going to open your eyes, and all of us will suddenly get distracted or attached to what needs to be done or what is calling our attention. And immediately, all that inner focus on joy goes out into handling whatever it is. And it could be very important. It could be a child of ours that needs support or help, or it could be a relative, friend, spouse. It could be a situation at work that suddenly has an urgency to it. And all of those things draw our attention out, and then we just leave who we are behind. And in these meditations, we want to take who we are with us into the world in all that we're doing. So in this case, we're taking joy as the focal point. If I'm joyful in this hour, I can be joyful for the rest of the day. If I'm joyful in my meditation, then I can be joyful in the way I live my life. And I can live life as a meditation. So I'd love you to just get into that joyful mindset. It really is an attitude. I don't like the word mindset, but it does kind of work. It's an attitude is somewhat of a better word, but I like the word mindset because we can just shift more. We can shift attitudes as well, shift mindsets, whatever works best for you. But that we have this possibility at any time. We see a situation we don't like. We can be in a judgmental mindset, meaning that's what we're focused on. It's wrong, it's bad, we hate it, and we feel judgmental. We get negative. We create karma for ourselves by that cycle. Or we can go into a forgiveness mindset, which is, it's okay, I feel wronged, but I forgive myself for judging the situation. I forgive myself for judging that I feel wronged. There's a forgiveness mindset. Or we can be in an acceptance mindset. It's all okay, or it's perfect the way it is. These things are not passive. It's not giving up. It's just attending to the reality that's present and how we can find our way through it. And point of view in the spiritual sky is always to return to who you are. And who you are is the spiritual sky, so you have space for all of it. The sky is not disturbed by your shouting. The sky is not disturbed by anything. It can absorb it. How big is the sky? How big is the universe? A volcano in Tonga is a massive event, particularly if you're right next to it. It's there, it's all-consuming. You move out into the ocean, it's less consuming. You move up into the atmosphere, it's less consuming. You look at it from the moon, it's even less consuming. It's not consuming at all. It's just a blip. So we want to have that expansiveness, but we also want to have the joy in there. And how do we make that joy appear? John Roger tells us your destiny isn't some vague romantic future. It is what is right in front of you right now. Use what you've got and what you know. You are divine. Learn to manifest joy under any conditions. Learn to manifest joy under any conditions. It's one of my favorite quotes. I like short versions because I can remember them. Learn to manifest joy under any conditions. Another quote from JR, which I love, is anticipate joy at every moment. Anticipate joy at every moment. Learn to manifest joy under any conditions. Henry Miller, the famous author, said, "The aim of life is to live, and to live means to be aware, joyously, drunkenly, serenely, divinely aware." So one of our MSIA friends gets into joy by just chanting joy. Joy, 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 joy. You can just say that over and over and over again. And believe it or not, it has the effect of eliciting joy within you. You may have to say it for a minute or two, but just keep going with the joys until you have a smile on your face. Again, John Roger, joy dynamically moving through your consciousness, changing, altering, updating, making all things new, is indicative of the presence of spirit. Joy is indicative of the presence of spirit. Joy, dynamically moving through your consciousness, changing, altering, updating, making all things new, is indicative of the presence of spirit. What a wonderful thing to know. And when we move into that joy, it's not like, oh, I'm joyful. It's like, no, dynamically moving through your consciousness, changing, altering, updating, making all things new, is indicative of the presence of spirit. Now, we talked about joy, 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 joy. But there's another way we could do it, that is when we receive the breath in, we say the words, or we receive joy in our hearts. So as we inhale, we say inwardly joy. As we exhale, we say joy, but not through our mouths. Of course, we're saying it through our mouth. The words come out there, but the feeling, the sense is in the heart. The sense isn't in our throat, the sense of the joy. So we inhale, joy. Exhale, joy. And perhaps you feel an expansion in your heart, and your chest rises. It only takes a millimeter. It doesn't have to be a big gesture. Just to feel that opening. And you feel like, oh, my spine is releasing. The joy is coming out of my heart. John Roger tells us, and as I started acting joyful, joy appeared. And I think that's the idea. We may not feel joyful, but we start saying joy, joy, joy. Or we breathe in joy and we breathe out joy. As I started acting joyful, joy appeared. Patch Adams, who was a doctor, was famous, and they made a movie out of him actually with Robin Williams. He was famous for his joy, his humor. He said, the most radical thing we can do in this world is be joyful. The most radical thing we can do in this world is be joyful. And this is John Roger again. Just this area of joy, when we really dive into it, just expands into all areas of our lives. JR tells us, when I talk about prosperity, the material area is secondary. What good are all the goodies if you don't have the capacity to enjoy them? If your inner life is filled with anguish and anxiety, all the outer accoutrements do not add up to a life of prosperity. In order to truly enjoy physical luxury and comfort, you need to have the capacity for joy within you. So if we live an abundant prosperity life, a life of prosperity, we can bring the joy into it, and then truly enjoy it. But we don't need anything to be joyful, because joy is who we are. And this is illustrated in one of my favorite stories. Jacques Lucéran, a hero of the French resistance in World War II, tells the true story about his meeting Jeremy, an inmate at the German concentration camp Buchenwald. Now, what's extraordinary about this story is that Jacques Lucéran was blind. But despite his total blindness, he could see an inner radiance in people. But he could only see this light when he was in a loving place. When he had anger, impatience, competitiveness, or fear. He found that this light immediately dimmed or went out altogether. In those moments, he said, he felt truly blind. During World War II, after the Nazis occupied France, Lucéran joined the resistance movement. He was captured and, as we mentioned, sent to Buchenwald. Of the 2,000 French interned there, Lucéran was one of only 30 who survived. Later, he wrote that his experience in the camp confirmed two important truths: that each person's life is shaped from the inside, and that fear kills, but joy sustains life. At Buchenwald, Lucéran met a remarkable old man named Jeremy, who, despite the wretched conditions in the camp, radiated a joyful and healing presence. Jeremy managed not to judge the situation or his captors, and never thought of himself as a victim or as one of the good guys against the bad. To Jeremy, it was simply human beings carrying on as usual. In regular life, he had seen people living in fear and doing harm to themselves. It was the same in the camp, only the setting differed. Jeremy observed that Buchenwald was within each of us. And since it was our minds that made it a hell and stoked its horror, we had the power within us to choose differently. Somehow, Jeremy had the inner resources to find joy in the midst of Block 57 at Buchenwald. And Lucéran, in his book, goes on to recall that he found it during moments of the day when others found only fear. And he found this joy in such abundance that when he was present, we felt it rise in us. What joy! The joy of being alive in this moment, in the next, each time we become aware of it. The joy of discovering that joy exists, that it is in us just exactly as life is, without conditions, and which no condition, even the worst, can kill. Lucéran goes on to say that this benediction had no end. And when it ceased, it was that we had ceased wanting it. That we, and not it, had ceased being joyful. Jeremy had escaped from the network of compulsive reflexes. In other words, he had the discipline not to just react to everything that was in front of him. And he had touched the very depth of himself and liberated the essential, who he truly was, which is that which does not depend on any circumstance, which can exist in all places and in any time, in pain as in pleasure. But Jeremy was not happy. He was joyous. The good which he enjoyed was not his, or rather it was, but by participation. It was just as much ours. So this is a story that I come to often. The line that always stands out for me, Jeremy was not happy, he was joyous. And also that when he found it in such abundance, this joy, that when he was present, we felt it rise in us. What a gift we can give others. You just be with that for a minute, and then we'll play some music for you. So how are you doing with this joy? It's easy to lose touch with it, but if you can stay in it, oh my goodness, we can say that you are a success, that you've had a successful life regardless of outer circumstances. If you can maintain that joy. And the interesting thing is that you don't have to create joy. You don't have to go anywhere to find joy. Joy is present, right here, right now, in you, as you. So conditioned are we with the outer form of our personality, our status, our culture. We're so identified with our role in the world that it takes us away from our joyful, unconditioned nature. Yet, when you look at a baby or a young child and you see the natural joy they have, that's us really before it gets covered over with all the things that we know about that have happened to us in our lives. But just like a diamond in the rough, or a jewel that's covered in dirt. It's important that we know that that joy is there. John Roger says that I tell people, anytime joy comes along, take it. They say, what if I lose it? You cannot lose joy as long as you stay in it. But if you try to give it out there, to do something with it, someone else will take it. They will not do what you want. Then you say, see, it doesn't work. But it's not designed to work out there. Joy works inside of you. When I smile, that's my face. When I laugh, that's my voice. I have joy right now. It's inside of me. It's life. It's vitality. So there is no illness. There is only the spirit. Everyone can do that. When you have joy, again, this is John Roger, when you have joy, you don't know why you have joy. You just do. That's the spirit inside of you, letting you know that it's there, and you get to drink of it. You get to play in it. You get to have everything in it, and there's more than you can use. Isn't that nice to know that this joy we're talking about can't be used up? It's like that Jacques Lucien quote. We get to participate in it. Again, you can just be saying to yourself, joy, joy, joy. Just keep saying it until that joy appears within you. Or you can just breathe in joy in your heart and breathe out and say joy. With each breath, there's joy. And you can have a twinkle in your eye and a smile in your face. So as you begin to return to the room, you can do that by gently wiggling your fingers and your toes. Taking a slightly deeper breath. I just hope that you take with you these two gems from John Roger. Anticipate joy at every moment. And learn to manifest joy under any conditions. Hopefully we got a little bit of a head start on the joy here, just to prime the pump. The joy is within you. Take it inside, enjoy it, and let it radiate out to your friends and families. What Jacques Lucien said about Jeremy, and he found joy in such great abundance. Now remember, they're talking about in a concentration camp. And he found joy in such great abundance that when he was present, we felt it rise in us. What a gift we can give to others. Be well, everyone. Thank you to Chris and to Jake, our technicians, to Stella for hosting, for Maria Jose Marignon for translating. They all got matcha, by the way, in case you didn't know. Is it just me? We all had their own bowl. Everybody had their own individual bowl of matcha. So they were well taken care of and appreciated it. And nobody wanted oat milk extra. So they were just purists. So impressive. Anyway, we'll see you Thursday or next week or tonight for the Spontaneous Self. It's not too late to sign up for that, by the way. So be well, and we'll see you around. God bless.